much. So one of the main missions of Caregiving Cafe support groups, which is something that I started because I saw the need for it, was to empower family caregivers. We do so with education, camaraderie, self-care, and a reminder that we are all amazing. So let's talk about how to stay that way. We take self-care very seriously at Caregiving Cafe. I'd like to talk about choosing to thrive in caregiving today, and how do we do that? Because personally for me, surviving is just not good enough. I don't think that we were meant to just get by. I strongly believe we were meant to thrive. And those of you who have met me, I think you've heard me say that once or twice before. So how do we do this? How do we thrive? We need to start with, and let me just remind you, I'm not a professional. I have a degree in fashion merchandising, but I have learned a lot, way too much, and more than I ever thought I would, through caregiving for my parents and my husband for 12 and a half years now. So I have this very strong calling, I guess, to be of service. And after seeing what happened to my mother while she was taking care of my dad, who ended up passing away 4 months later from multiple myeloma, I thought, no, this is cruel. And I saw what was happening to my mother. So when it became my turn, right when my dad died, my husband was getting sick in 2008. I said, I'm not going to let that happen to me. And I know I'm not the only one. So I want to connect the family caregivers to resources and to each other. And that is the mission of Caregiving Cafe. So we start out, my plan, the way I've seen it and learned from other caregivers and professional speakers on various topics, is how to thrive. And how do we do that? We start by having the right perspective. And I happen to run across a poem that is, it really sums it all up. And we really do need a good perspective in life to manage it better, but especially in caregiving, because we're faced with so many things that we've never dealt with before. So this poem is called The Man Who Thinks He Can, but I took the liberty of adjusting that title to The Caregiver Who Thinks He or She Can. And the original poem is by Walter D. Wintle, and it goes like this. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you want to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a person's will. It's all in a state of mind. Life's battles don't always go, though, to the stronger and faster human, but sooner or later, the people who win are the ones who think they can. So I found that really summarizes a really healthy way to look at life, because life brings a lot of things that we never planned to, never dreamed of. And yet here we are dealing with it, or are we dealing with it? So perspective helps you step back from your situation so that you can get a better look at the whole problem, instead of just being in a little dark corner that often seems dark, and we feel lost and overwhelmed and helpless and like a victim. And that is a horrible way to feel. I saw my mother live a lot of years feeling that way. And, you know, I have felt that way briefly. And let me tell you, I did not like it. So what I did was, and I have learned again from other professionals who know much more than I do, that perspective in life is all about how we choose to see a situation. And believe it or not, we have that choice. Sometimes we forget that when we're in the middle of all these different things and important decisions that we need to make and all the responsibilities of caregiving. Because we all know that caregiving is not just about the medical side. There's so much more that we do, and you are all doing it or have done it before. You have the capability to change your life with the right perspective. There's a little story here that I came across, another one, and these are anecdotes that better illustrate my point. There was a couple, Jide and Sandra, who lived in the slums of a crowded city of Lagos in Nigeria, where houses are built facing each other, and you can see each other pretty easily. And they have ropes to hang your laundry. And that's how you see, you know, literally you see everybody's laundry being aired out. So this lady, Sandra, kept noticing this particular neighbor who proudly hung out this dingy whites that were really yellow and dirty and not a pretty thing to look at. Then one day, Sandra peered through the window and saw that the whites were bright as day. So she ran to her husband and told him, you know, brought him to the window and said, look, these whites, you know, finally she did something right. And then the husband, who was shocked, said to Sandra, no, my dear, I actually cleaned the windows you were supposed to clean 3 months ago. So what changed here was the lens through which Sandra was seeing things. It was dirty, and in caregiving and in life, sometimes these lenses are dirty with stress, with lack of help, no answers. You know, most of us are thrown into caregiving. I know that when I turned 18 and decided I wanted to go to college, one of the options was never, I want to be a family caregiver for a disabled husband. Okay, that was not an option. Didn't even dream of it, but here we are. You know, and many of us take care of loved ones, parents, you know, relatives, children. So our perspectives can be like those of Sandra, viewing a window through a window that really needs cleaning, and it's cluttered by all these stresses and experiences that are not always pleasant. So what we can do is use the good experiences that bring joy and strength and apply those to our way of life and our responsibilities. So remember that life is what you make it, and having the right perspective will preserve calm and encourage you to come up with ways to move forward. Our perspective, and I practice what I preach, okay? And I feel that I am a successful caregiver. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that I don't cry or get angry, but I don't ask why, because I don't have an answer for that. But my perspective is always, well, 99.9% of the time positive. Our perspective, especially as caregivers, when we're dealing with the unknown, is I got this. But how do we get there? So firstly, we need to believe in ourselves. I think we all do, but we kind of forget. We need to remind ourselves that we are amazing. We truly are. We don't have all the answers, but who does? We need to believe that we can find those answers somehow, okay, with help. We don't do this alone. We need to believe in ourselves and in something that is going to get us to where we need to be. This path that is covered by all kinds of debris that they block our way, okay? So there are different ways to get through to this path, to the light at the end of the tunnel, and it can be through faith. That works for me, for my family, through friends, through fellow family caregivers, through support groups where you can meet more family caregivers, through education, which is what you will be gaining today as well, We all have the power of possibility within us. We need to take a few minutes to find it and to use it, because we need to use whatever we have available, and we need a lot of things in caregiving. So caregiving can feel like we have no choice, like we have no clue about what to do, no escape. We did not ask for a loved one to be sick, okay? And we did not ask to be a family caregiver, but we're doing it anyway. I believe in destiny, but it's really about what you believe. And destiny chose us because we do have what it takes to take care of our loved ones and to be amazing, compassionate, loving, practical, successful family caregivers. You and your loved ones are one team with one goal, and that is to support your caree through this phase, through this chapter. Destiny never said to do this alone or that it was going to be easy. Help to do this caregiving thing is out there, and you're going to meet some of those people who will help us get there. We need to go after the help and use it. But it all starts with our decision to succeed, our positive attitude and perspective, our choice to thrive. We also need to be grateful. And I know that this is not the first time you hear this. And I think, okay, gratitude, okay, thank you. I mean, I thank God for a parking lot close to the entrance of HEB, okay? But it's much more than that, although everything counts. And I've said this many times before because I mean it. I am grateful that the caree is not me. Not that I'm not saying, oh, well, I'm glad it's you, mom or dad or my husband, that you're sick. No, not that way. But really, we could be the ones that are bedbound. And I have also said many times that when we are tired, ready to drop dead, although, okay, that's, I guess, a pun intended, Nancy Walker, but, and she'll show you how to do it sensibly. But when we're so tired and we're like, okay, I've heard caregivers, I pat my back, I'm so ready to run away. When we're feeling that low, that is when we need to be grateful and say, thank you for allowing me to be this tired, because that means I am this able. I have my abilities and my loved one does not. Okay, so I was going to show you a picture of my husband's rough foot, but lucky for you, I didn't know how to do it, but it is a drop foot. He's in pain all over, and the skin is scaly, pieces of skin falling off. He can't move it. His toenails get sometimes to a half inch to an inch long. It's too painful to trim. It's like, oh my gosh. So, thank you that I am able to help him. As tired as I get, it's nowhere near what the suffering that he's dealing with. And many of our loved ones are going through that as well. One of the other things that is very important is humor. We joke every single day. As he's really suffering, as many of our loved ones suffer, we suffer too. And it is very okay to allow yourself to laugh, even if it's for 1 minute, because we all know it creates all these good chemical things in our body, chemical reactions, and we need that because we need to stay strong. Nobody needs a weak, tired, exhausted caregiver, which many of us are, and that is why it is great to attend these workshops, these symposia, so that we can learn from each other, learn tips to get through this, and also attend support groups. Any support group is great. So remember, again, you have a choice in how you live your life, and you have a choice in seeking resources and help. Age of Central Texas, Area Agency on Aging, Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's Texas, all of these, any support group, disease-focused support groups are there to help all of us, as well as the presenters that will be joining us today, and I am thankful for all the resources. In caregiving, we also need to be resilient, and we need to adapt to our situation, because the only constant is truly change in caregiving. Often it is change for the worse. So we need to keep ourselves positive and moving forward, but we also need to help our loved ones, our carees, positive as best they are able to do so. And through education, we can learn about what they are able to do rather than what we expect them to do or what they were able to do before, because we need to communicate with them the way they are today. We need to be their cheerleader. We need to be cheerleaders for ourselves, but also for our loved one. Okay, I'm keeping track of the time here, and I want to make sure, because I'm known to talk way too much. So, okay, how do we learn to be adapt? We need to be flexible. We need to take what is and view it for what it is, but it doesn't mean that you give up hope for something better. Hope is always there. We need hope to move forward. But we also need to be realistic. If somebody honestly cannot walk and you're expecting them to get up and walk, it's not going to happen. And then we will be frustrated, and so will our loved one. So we go get the help that we need. We look for it. Talk to me, talk to any of us here. The presenters can guide you, can provide information and resources. But we need to get whatever we need to help our loved ones, and always hope for something better, for a good day, okay? And when you have that ability, that line of thinking in your head, we get through life more easily. So in order to be resilient, which means bouncing back from difficult situations, we need to first start with self-awareness. And what that means is stop and ask yourself, how am I doing right now? Okay, am I feeling okay? Am I feeling euphoric? Am I feeling so exhausted that I cannot take another step? And then think about what happened that made me feel this way, and what can I do about it? Okay, and sometimes it's just a matter of taking 10 minutes with a little bit of time management that we all need to do in caregiving. We can make 10 minutes. Take them and stop. And you could do deep breathing, you can do meditation. For me, I just stop. I don't even listen to music. I want quiet in my house, because my brain is always going, as is all of ours, planning, anticipating. And just stop. Stop your mind, calm your mind. Everybody who knows me knows I love to dance, I love music, you know, whatever. I have rediscovered the Supremes. Oh my gosh. What about a pick-me-up? It's like, oh my gosh, I am happy instantly. Give me 2 notes and I'm happy. And we need that positivity to get through the day, to face whatever adversity we're going to be facing. And it's not always bad. We always need to look for the good things. So there's something good out of every single situation, no matter how dark the moment. I call those challenges lessons, and they're here for a reason. Learn from them, because those who have a faith, and I believe that God has granted us everything we need to get through whatever challenges we face. And if you believe in a different belief system, there's a power out there, the power of the universe or Mother Nature, that also has done that for us, because nobody wants to see anybody suffering. I am almost out of time, so I remind you that you as family caregivers are the CEOs of your own caregiving situation. I'll be done in 1 second. Maybe if I can stop this, okay? You are in charge of your own caregiving situation. You know best what it takes to do things. That doesn't mean that we're in complete control or that we have all the answers, but it is up to every individual caregiver to put that caregiver hat on, the chief caregiving officer of your own caregiving situation, and go get the resources. Start by talking to the people who will be presenting today, and choose to thrive. Choose to use the talents and gifts and expertise that you have, because you have them. Pull them out. And remember that hope is always there. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Even it may be around the corner. The tunnel might go like this. It's out there, and know that it's out there. Do it with the help and resources that are available, and give yourself a hand, a pat on the back for doing what you're doing. Thank you.